is going on YouTube? Pass the Prop is back, and we're ready to go for Thursday Night Football. Best bets, recap our Monday night stuff. We're going into our DFS and fantasy stuff for the weekend as well, looking over the slate. But yeah, we're back. Obviously, this is not our normal day. But, dude, when can we just get these Thursday Night Football games to just not have a bunch of injuries to, like, the biggest people, right?
Yeah, not only that, like we all knew Saquon wasn't going to play. They just didn't make it official, which means the sports books were just sitting there like, okay, guess that means we don't have to put any lines out today. So we're dealing with like 4 options yesterday. A little bit annoying, but as you guys know, hey, pass the props for the people out here. We're not going to sit around and just bullshit for no reason just because we have a show lined up. We want to win bets. So moved it back a day. We're sacrificing some time on a Thursday to win some money. And hey, I think we actually got some pretty good combinations despite this game being a little ugly.
Yeah, this is gross. You don't and again, we are finding picks for our spots, right? There's not anything like we're not going to force it if we don't like it. But let's be real here. If this game was, on a Sunday, we probably won't be talking about it as much as we are today. So just a heads up there. We have 2 1-unit spots that we're going to be rolling with today. And I think both of them are great spots. So let's recap here. 25 of you guys in here in the first 2 minutes. We appreciate you guys showing out early and often here. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Let's take a look here. And I got really lucky, man. I did get very lucky that I made this on DraftKings, and DraftKings did void my Jamal Williams leg. But they only did it. It was kind of funny. They only did it if you won your other spots. I think that's the first time I've seen that, where they make you win your other legs to void your other spots, which I think is really smart. And I think that's what I hope to see if they do void it. I was not expecting a void, but I was expecting to take that L. But hey, we'll take a void.
Yeah, no, I mean, they void the specific leg. So if you lose the rest of your play, they're like, well, come on. Jamal Williams wasn't saving you. But yeah, if you win it, they'll pay out the juiced leg, which is nice. I had the same thing. I had Chubb 65 rush yards for one of my plays on Twitter, and he ended with 64.
Yeah.
But the other leg did win. It was Njoku 20. So they paid out my, minus 340 or whatever, which is better than losing, no doubt about it. And yeah, I wasn't expecting it either with Williams. I mean, I get Chubb, I guess, because he's so popular, but Williams got injured in deep in the second quarter, right? It was already pretty deep into that game. But hey, we'll take the generosity.
Yeah, no, and Williams was this is the crappy part about comboing on football, because Watson was the big leg, right? That was the one that carried most of it. It's like minus 150. So that one did obviously pay out there, but Williams was like the the juice reducer there a little bit there, and that was the one that made us sweat a little bit. True. But I just counted it as a complete void. I didn't even count it. So we will head over to yours, which came through, man. That was as sweat free as you can have, huh?
I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, I'm never going to bet an under. But when I do bet unders, I do kind of hate it, right? Because you feel like shit when you're watching the game. You're rooting against cool things to happen. But this one was easy. You never felt once like Bryce Young was going to pull out an 80-yard bomb. You never once felt that during the game. So it's about as sweat-free cash as I've ever had on under. We added on another half unit over on Twitter if you're following over there as well to make it a 1.5 unit winner. So this one had me fired up. One of my favorite calls of the year so far. I wish the guy would play so we could bet it again next week. We'll see.
Yeah, no, and the only time they pushed it downfield, he threw it out of bounds almost. It was he was going downfield, but just trying to get the safeties to stay back, right? So it wasn't even for any other reason, but just to, make them sit back there. Let's take a look at the chat. I saw Steve was already in there ready to roll. He was in there before us. So we love it. We love it. Gerardo in here. Hope all is going well, my man. IG, hope you're doing well. I don't know. I'm going to guess complete receptions, I would guess, that you're talking about with 2.5. I would guess that's what you mean. Yeah, the unders, man, when you find one you like, they're sweaty, but especially on the ones we're going with, right? We usually like to bet the longest reception, longest rush. But man, we got lucky this week on those unders, man, because usually I don't think we're lucky to cash, but we were lucky to not sweat, right? And we're expecting to sweat. Where both of us had those unders, right? Tyreek at 15, I think Bryce Young was 20. was the longest one. It's like they were sweat free, but usually, just because you're on the under, it makes it a little bit more sweaty no matter what,
Yeah, no doubt about it. That one, I mean, like you said, you actually kind of said it perfectly. Normally they suck, but for once it felt good. And hey, that's we don't like pat ourselves on the back up here, but that's why it's a good call right there, right? When you don't have to sweat a single minute over unders, on bets that were very popular overs, it feels good. So glad we got that. Good start to the week, obviously, and hey, let's continue it today for Thursday Night Football.
Beautiful. I'm just retweeting yours right now over on Twitter there, and let's get moving a little bit. We have now moved up 10-4, 7.35 units. That is through 2 full complete weeks of football. Obviously, can't really ask for too much more than that. We've always tried to be as open as we possibly can on here. So we're gonna try and keep that all the way up, rolling as much as possible. And keep you guys up to date on how we are doing overall there. So, Stu, I guess we can talk about this game, man, and it's gross. I guess we can just talk about the overlying stuff right now. Obviously, no Saquon. The line has ballooned up to 10.5, plus 112 on DraftKings, or minus 112 to the plus 10.5 on the Giants. Obviously, this is in San Francisco. Minus 470 money line on San Francisco. I guess we can just talk an overview, and then we'll pick one of our favorite of the 4 sides before we get into our prop, because this shit's disgusting.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I know there are a lot of Giants fans out there. They want, this to be the comeback. And a lot of people are saying, like, it's Thursday Night Football. Crazy shit happens. And that is true. That is one thing. If you've watched football for a while, these primetime games are always the ones where you're just sitting there dumbfounded. Like, how could this possibly happen? But for me, the reason why I'm not backing the Giants this week is pretty simple, right? It's what's been getting destroyed by this team, right? What's obviously been their weakness through these first 2 weeks. It's the offensive line. They're getting destroyed, right? I mean, Neal has looked like a mess out there, former first-round pick, Thomas, now dealing with the injury stuff. This offensive line has just looked flat out bad. And now they're going, they had the Cowboys defense, which wreaked absolute havoc on them. They're going against the next best thing to the Cowboys defense, arguably maybe even better, or at least on the same level in this 49ers defensive line. That's going to send Hargrave at you. It's going to send Bosa at you. Obviously, you have the best cover linebacker in the league in Warner, there for your number 1 target in Darren Waller. So for me, it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, the Giants are going to look better eventually. We're not going to keep seeing this terrible performance all year, but San Francisco is not the get right spot, right? Especially on a short week. So I'm going to have to be passing on the Giants. I'm sorry if you love them this week, but I'm on the San Francisco side.
Yeah, I mean, there's really how can you talk me into the Giants? What can you say to
backdoor?
Like it would have to be something like that. But it's like against Arizona, right? That backdoor was open because Arizona's defense is garbo. They just played like shit in the first half, right? So it was like, you had the opportunities. I just don't think there's going to be that many opportunities here, especially if you get into obvious passing situations, man. You got those ears pinned back. Those dudes are going for your neck, and they're going to try and take you out, man. And it's a scary spot for all involved here. I guess I do want to talk about this a little bit there. Is there any Giants that you would play in fantasy this week in a year-long setting?
Oh,
You play Waller?
Well, I don't have any Darren Waller at all, so I don't have to make that decision ever because I just took TJ Hawkinson like 8 picks later. Shout out me. Good pick right there. But no, I don't. I mean, you got to play Waller if you have him. Like if you have Waller on your team, your next best tight end is going to be Hunter Henry, probably. Are you going to depend on a Hayden Hurst or Hunter Henry touchdown? I don't know.
All right, let's hypothetically say you have Darren Waller. He was your first guy, right? Your first tight end. Are you playing Matt Laporta over him?
See, I just had to answer Kittle versus Laporta on my last show, and I took Kittle. I like Laporta a lot. Like Laporta,
I do too. That's why I'm saying.
My home league week-to-week starting tight end is Laporta. So, I mean, But the thing is, I didn't draft Darren Waller 80 rounds earlier. You have to deal with that if you did that, right?
I have no Waller. I have zero
I'm not
Waller.
saying you specifically. That was to the audience, okay?
Yeah.
If you drafted, because to me, at the end of the day, I do believe you draft your all-star players, and you shouldn't be drafting or playing kind of these lesser guys. So I see Joe. Exactly. I called the Hunter Henry exactly. I knew it was up out there. I'd play Waller over Hunter Henry because at the end of the day, you're just betting on Hunter Henry to get a touchdown. And if you look at the odds, 350, they're not too great or whatever they'll be. So it's close. I'm not loving Waller, but you got to play your studs at the end of the day.
Yeah, you almost have to just assume they're matchup proof, right? I mean, that's the tough part, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, man, and it is. And I'm the guy rolling San Francisco's defense.
Oh yeah.
In 2 of my 3 leagues, the other one I have Dallas. So, but in the 2 leagues I have San Francisco, I'm playing Dallas's defense. So it's like they're gonna probably negate with Arizona rolling out an absolute dump, and just hope that James Conner runs one to the house or something. But yeah, hopefully San Francisco can pin their ears back and give me a couple sacks because, dude, that Dallas defense, they're like ranked number 1 overall in our fantasy league, like points, like overall points, higher than any other quarterback. So they got to put some stuff down on this one. So that was the one guy I was thinking was the only guy that you can really talk about because you're not trying to start Slayton, you're not going to try and start Hyatt. I mean, unless you're in if you're starting those guys, you must have had literally every injury possible to be getting those guys, unless you're like a 16-team league. But I'm in a 14 team, and it's tough, but you can make it work. But yeah, it's
the problem though is a lot of teams have bad wide receiver cores. The Giants have so many different ones that they use. Like we're now adding Sterling Shepard back into the mix. You're adding Wan'Dale Robinson back into the mix, who was last year. Like they literally have 7 mid guys that they could all play at any given moment, and it's so hard to pick. Like for me, I said DFS Hyatt's probably the guy, but that's not even a secret anymore, right? I was betting Hyatt week 1. And then he did exactly what we thought he was going to do week 1 and week 2, right? Where he just caught like a deep bomb or 2. And that's what his role is. So for DFS, it's probably Hyatt, but season long, you're probably just going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a tough spot overall for sure. And let's I guess we got a couple people talking in the chat here about a couple questions, a couple spots. Let's take a look. I'm going with under 50.5 longest reception for Paris Campbell. Hopefully Jones keeps running from Bosa. This will be something we're going to talk about here shortly when I get to my play. And I think even yours as well. So I don't mind that at all. I don't mind any of the unders on the longest reception. I just don't think they're going to have enough time. But yeah, Slumpy talking about Daniel Jones over pass attempts, Purdy under pass attempts. I guess that's oh yeah, we got to do it. If you had to pick one side of the game, over, under, spread on either side, where are you going?
Can I buy a point on the Niners to 10 at like minus 130? I don't want to play 10.5. You got to go above now 10 points with a team that doesn't really cover margin. Like if you let me buy the point and get a little juice, then I would pick it. If not,
no buying. We ain't buying here.
I don't know. I mean, the over, I guess, is it 44 now? It moved up a little, right?
No, it's 43.5.
43.5. I guess we'll say the over just because I think San Fran probably scores. Oh boy, I can't. This game is so bad. Exactly. I'm doing the math in my head. I'm going, okay, San Francisco's probably got 27. And then I'm like, damn, can the Giants really get that 17 more to push it above? I don't know. I'll just say the over, and we'll hope San Francisco keeps putting on the points. We get a defensive score. We just saw that in prime time with the Steelers the other day. I'm thinking that, I mean, Danny fumbles, right? We call him Danny Dimes. This guy fumbles more than any quarterback I've ever seen. So we'll go the over. We'll say that garbage time just leads to some points scored.
Oof. Yeah, 15.5 is the team total for the Giants. That's what it's sitting at. And I think that's even high, to be honest. But yeah, no, I think I have to take the Niners at 10.5. I don't think there's a way I can bet on the other side. And guess what, guys? I'm not betting on it. I'm just saying we just want to make sure we talk about it. Because I know a lot of you guys like to bet spreads as well. We don't really bet spreads here, unfortunately, so we're not probably the best spot for that. But in a primetime game, we'll definitely talk about it. Joe, bring up Let's Make Some Money. And Stu, we might as well, right? We might as well get it going here, and I'll kick it over to you to start us off here. 15 minutes in, 43 of you guys. Hit that like button. Take it away, Stu.
Yep, we're going over to the DraftKings /MGM same game parlay. We're going Matt Breida under 49.5 rushing yards plus him to record 2 catches. That one is -115. Oh, this is an interesting one, right? It's kind of a similar plan you guys saw me do with Madison in our last primetime game. And it's very similar logic of, just Matt Breida, like just saying the name, you guys can already kind of guess. Like, this isn't someone that you really want to be trusting in general, right? Especially in the rushing game. But man, has there been a worse team to target with the running backs than the 49ers over these last couple seasons? They've been a truly elite defensive line. Last week, I played Cam Akers under 49.5, comboed with Puka, 4 receptions, and Cam Akers got, deactivated before the game started. But it's still one of those situations where I'd like to consistently play these alternate unders, right? Because Breida's line is sitting at 30 right now. The books are expecting to get about 30 rush yards on about 8 to 9 rush attempts. I have a very hard time seeing him eclipse 10, 11, 12, which means you're asking a guy in Matt Breida who's not a starting running back, who hasn't had to carry much active volume over the last couple of years, to average around 4.5 to 5 yards per carry against an elite defensive line, right? And I just really don't see that happening, right? I get, okay, we don't have our weapons. We got to establish the run. This is not the team to do that on, right? You're truly going to have the worst run blocking advantage of any team in the league this week, right? And that's kind of why what I hit on at the beginning of why I don't see the Giants coming back is that offensive line is beaten down and broken. I don't see how they're going to create holes for a guy like Matt Breida to produce. That's also, even this line is giving credit for Breida being like the main guy throughout the whole game. We could see Gray, right? We could see some rookies. We could see some of these other guys involved. I would not be surprised. But what we have noticed about the San Francisco defense, right, is they have been allowing the catches. They've been averaging 10 targets per game to the running back through their first 2 games. They averaged 8 targets per game to the running back last season. It logically makes a lot of sense. When you have a Bosa, when you have a Hargrave, when you have these guys charging you snap after snap, you got to get the ball out fast. You got to hit these checkdowns. And guess what? A guy like Darren Waller would be the guy that makes a lot of sense. But this is the best linebacker core we have in the league, especially in terms of coverage, right? Warner is an absolute stud in coverage. He looks like a safety out there sometimes, right? So he does have the worst matchup in the field in terms of the secondary in Waller, right? Which is unfortunate because that's your favorite target. Some guys like Paris Campbell are going to get involved on those short passes. But for me, Breida, when he's given the opportunities, right? When he's had 10 touches over the last couple seasons, he has had 2 catches in 3 of those 5 games. He's had 5 games over the last 2 years with 10 touches. And even one of those was with Saquon. It was just kind of a bit of a blowout where he lost that one. But in the games where he's out there, he's going to be that dependable check down, that quick catch. We're not asking for too much. We're just asking for a dump off right here. And we've seen it so far, right? We've seen running backs crush this against the 49ers. It makes tons of logical sense when you just think about it. And it's good to see that all the stats are there to back it up as well. So I'm fading Breida in the rushing game. I don't think they're going to have any rush attack whatsoever. And then in garbage time, when they're down, when we're trailing down the field, we're going to check down. Couple easy passes to Breida. Very surprised this is only -115.
Yeah, and I'll just go into mine. And I completely agree with you. I'm going to Jones completions, -130. This is the absolute max juice I'll play. Just for comparison, I had a -140 on my YouTube play of the day, and I literally had to play a juice reducer because I hated mine with a 1 and a 4 next to it. So -130, literally the max we're going to see here. And I definitely agree. I don't think you're going to be able to run. And one thing I do want to talk about is you brought up Breida, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, he could break one, right? I just looked at his longest rush, and it's 10, right? So that is not instilling any confidence for guys who want to fade your rushing angle that you just talked about there. But I think the underneath route's the only spot you're going to be able to do. This offensive line was getting shredded by Arizona's front 7. They were getting pushed almost every single pass attempt. Obviously, later in the game, after you got Saquon going, you could start seeing them get a little bit more push. But no Saquon, no real rushing game here. This game, I think, is going to be kind of like that Pittsburgh game where they get down really big early, and you just see balls galore, short passes, getting it going. Obviously, I would definitely take Pittsburgh's weapons over the Giants' weapons here. But last year, even in those games, when they're 20 points or less when they've lost, right? He hit it in 5-6. Obviously, they had the Eagles game where they lost by like 30. But also, I think Dable is going to be smart enough to know exactly what we're saying, right? Get the ball, get it out. Quick, shotgun, quick get out to Hyatt, get out to these guys who can make stuff happen in space. Obviously, not the best team to do it against, but we definitely have seen this work against the Niners already this year. It's 2 for 2, getting to 20 completions because this Niners defense punches you in the mouth early. You get down, and you're not going to try and run it in the teeth of this defense. So I think this is my favorite spot on the board. I don't even know if I like another spot, to be honest. But I really do like Daniel Jones just to be that dump-off guy and get it going there.
Yeah, and I'm surprised this line is only 19.5. I mean, I know this is going to be a slower paced game, right? We're not obviously expecting some kind of shootout or anything like that. But I mean, it seems like if you had, if I had to set a line for this, I'd probably be thinking 21, 22, right? And Daniel Jones is a check down quarterback. Even when they were succeeding last year, a lot of what Daniel Jones was doing was hitting his guys. They were getting up to the line of scrimmage quickly, and they were moving the ball down the field consistently. But when you look at the weapons, right, this is a team full of sub-10 ADOT targets, right? We just talked about a guy in Paris Campbell who's not running those downfield routes. Darren Waller is not normally running those downfield routes. He does more than most tight ends, but still a pretty short intermediate target. You add Wan'Dale Robinson back, another short target. Hodgins on the outside is a sub-10 ADOT. You really only have two beyond 10 ADOT targets in this team in Slayton and Hyatt, who are both not going to be running very many routes, right? So for me, this game just makes so much sense for Jones to continue to dump the ball off. The only problem is really pace, right? I mean, it's just like how many drives will he have? Will he even be able to sustain the drives downfield? But like you said, you've got to have some faith in Daboll to get a little creative right here, get these guys some nice screens, get the ball moving quickly. So I don't know why I haven't played this myself yet. Our plays are the exact same logic, right? If you can see from both of our spots, we're taking advantage of the same thing, right? The complete and utter lack of a run blocking unit, the fact that the 49ers are probably going to get ahead early and the Giants are going to be forced to pass. So we're both attacking the same exact angle. I'm not sure why I haven't bet Jones completions yet, but that's definitely changing after we get off the show.
Yeah, no, and I always like being in agreement. Again, guys, I know we bring this up a lot, but we don't talk about our picks until about 20 minutes before we start, because it's like, yeah, I could just say, hey, Stu, send me your card and I'm going to use one. We just don't do that. It just makes it a lot easier to come on here and argue our points, because I like getting in arguments with Stu. I think it makes things more interesting, and I'm not just going to, we don't just get on here and stroke each other's ego. That's not really how we do things here. So I guess we could just take a really big left turn and we'll head over to Sunday's stuff. But I guess let's get a recap. So we kind of have that block point here. I'm trying to have it at that 25-minute mark.
Yeah.
So I can put that split up so we can have a good spot to switch. So I'll kick it to you for your recap here for Thursday Night Football.
Yep, we're going Matt Breida under 50 rushing yards and then him to record 2 catches. That's minus 115 on BetMGM and DraftKings.
Beautiful. And I'll be on Daniel Jones over 19.5 completions, guys, minus 130. And that's what we're gonna be rolling with today. So I know it's not the greatest game in the world, but we're gonna be talking about fantasy DFS stuff, and obviously some high end, low end, cheap guys that we like on the docket here for today. And I guess we look at this slate, man. There's some big total games. We don't really see these much anymore, Stu. We're seeing a mid-50s total. When's the last time we seen one of those? Even the Chiefs games haven't even been up in that number yet.
Yeah, no, it's good to see. I mean, and what other game? If you had to pick the highest total game in the league, Chargers, Vikings might be the 2 teams you'd pick, right? If you just maybe the Dolphins, Vikings could get a little bit crazier just because the Dolphins, I don't know. Maybe it is Chargers actually because their defense is that bad. I don't know, but these might be the 2 this is the most optimal scoring conditions we can have. So if you're a DFS guy, if you're a betting guy, we're gonna all have exposure in this game in some way or another.
Yeah, and if you want to get different in DFS, just try to full fade that game, man, because it's gonna be the most popular. But it's finding the guys that are not gonna be first clicks, right? That's how you win. That's how you take these down. Luckily, we're 2 for 2 in cashes and tournaments. Obviously, ran our show DFS contest last week. We will do that again here. I'm thinking we might make it $5 and just have top 2 get paid out instead of just doing the free one, just so you guys can actually, sweat a little bit, right? Sweat a little bit. It's going to be probably the best contest you're going to get it into if we can get 25 to to 50 of you guys in there. It would definitely be a fun contest, and hopefully a good payout to the winner there. I took second last week. My boy Paul beat me. He had a fantastic lineup, like 190. He did really, really well. I had like a 160, ended up cashing me out in most of my other tournament lineups, so was happy about that. But I want to take that down. I want to take it down there a little bit. I got to get you in there this week, so I'm going to make that link here earlier in the week. But I guess we can start out with your fantasy conundrum. You're going to make this a state. How do I? What word am I? What word am I looking for? A staple. There we go. A staple on the show. I couldn't think of it. I'm like mainstay. I'm like S something.
Yeah,
I was close. But yeah. What is yours, Stu? I know you had the Addison one that we talked about last week. That was fantastic. It came through for you. Hopefully, you got a dub in that league. But where are you looking this week? I think we're both in the running back room this week. Obviously, a lot of injuries going to buy into that.
Last week, obviously, started Addison. That ended up going very well. I'm starting him again this week. But for me, the problem is really the running back room on this team, right? I've got Breece Hall, Antonio Gibson, and Gus Edwards. And this is a real ugly combination of running backs. I mean, Antonio Gibson is drop worthy. I just couldn't get anyone worthy to drop him for. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't get Jerome Ford. And I'm not dropping him for Matt Breida, right? Because I don't think Matt Breida's doing anything. So it's one of those situations where, like, man, Breece Hall's barely playing. And you see him tweet about it. He tweets that he's barely playing. He only touched the ball 4 times. And then Gus Edwards is, like, the definition of, like, mid. Like, he'll give you, like, 8 points. Like, and I don't hate that. If it's 0 versus 8, I'll take 8. But I want some upside. And does it have to just be Breece Hall? That's what I feel like right now, but I don't know.
I think it kind of has to be. I mean, this offense needs weapons, man, and I don't know what they're going to do. Dude, Dalvin Cook did nothing last week. He had negative fantasy points till the last drive. That's all you need to know, dude. It's not even close in terms of talent. Maybe 6 years ago, Dalvin Cook, we could compete, but Breece Hall is a man, dude. He's a beast. Was a beast in college. I mean, I have to go Breece Hall here just because he's technically the one, right? He's technically the one there. Edwards, I mean, no running back on the Ravens is the one. It's Lamar Jackson is the one. He's the running back. Gibson is, you just got to hope they get down early, and I don't think you want to do that as a Washington fan. But this could be the week. It would be the week for them to just get blown out and to throw Gibson in there and get those dump offs.
But, like, we were down last game, and our solution to getting down was let's run the ball with Brian Robinson. Like, when we were down 21-3, we started coming out drives with Brian Robinson still. There wasn't an immediate instant plug-in of Gibson like last year. So, I don't know. I think I'm kind of taking Gibson out at this point. Like, I'm not going to play him. I'm not going to drop him yet. But for me, it's between Breece Hall and Edwards. And I think I'll just have to do Breece Hall. I think that's probably my pick right now. But it's tough.
Yeah, it's kind of gross. Stu, where were you finding the 50-yard under? Where did you find that?
Yeah, it's in the DraftKings same game parlay. So some people don't actually go into the SGP when they do it. But the thing is, too, unfortunately, it does look like some states aren't offering as many same game parlay options for DraftKings. Like, I've been hearing that recently as well. So let me know what state you're in, and I can maybe check in with that. But it's up on my app right now. Like, I can show it to you. You know, it's up it's up right now in the like, it is still actively on my DraftKings app right now. In the same game parlay under rushing yards. So if it's not on yours, maybe contact support real quick. I don't know, but yeah, it's still up for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can buy down the completions as well and maybe throw that in there and something like that. You know, sometimes I know, dude, DraftKings is weird, though, because I, like, in Illinois, when I do go over and take a look and throw into DraftKings, dude, I have lines that guys in Pennsylvania or New York don't have, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully it'll be all regulated soon and we won't even have to worry about it here. Yeah, I don't have it either, PJ, from the Illinois one, because I obviously have mine linked to an Illinois spot because I don't have DraftKings in Wisconsin. So, yeah, I don't see it as well. But like I said, you can buy it down and do all these things.
Maybe send a quick support message to see if that's like a permanent thing or not, because that's kind of crazy if it is.
Yeah, it's weird because I know I definitely have seen that before, but unfortunately for me, I got another conundrum as well this week. Mine's running back related. How can I want to play Najee Harris after these first 2 weeks? He's combined for 10 points in 2 weeks, PPR. It's me as the 2 seed in this league against the number 1 seed in 2 leagues. I have 1 or 2, and I'm fighting up against the number 1 seed here. And we got to score. We got to score points as a 10-man PPR with a keeper, so teams are pretty damn good. And I got Bijan as my 1. My biggest issue is that number 2 running back position. And I have Ford there. Najee has a great matchup. Ford has a tough matchup. It's just, dude, I can't get over the stupid Jalen Warren. Get this dude out of here.
Yeah. Oh God, Ford has such a bad matchup. It's like it's Joshua Kelly all over again of last week. Of the new hot, up and coming guy, and then shit, he gets the worst matchup in the league. I guess you got to play Najee. I guess. I mean, I don't know. If I got Ford, it would be. That's a tough one. He has the receiving upside, which you like. That's what we like, but it's not going to be more than 3 for 14, right? It's probably not going to be anything crazy. So how much can you depend on him on the ground? Yeah, you probably got to go Najee with how the Raiders' rush defenses look so far this year, wide open holes, but you're going to have heartburn watching that the whole time, just thinking about Jalen Warren popping in and stealing a nice 30-yard touchdown from you right here.
Yeah, and I mean, Najee's actually been if you look at underlying numbers, he's actually been pretty good. It's just there's people in the back. It's just people in the backfield every single time. This front line is terrible. And the only thing that's different about Kelly to Ford is Ford's got a top 3 run blocking offensive line, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And I never take that into consideration. But it's dude, this is literally a 50-50 toss-up for me. And it's just it's very tough for me to want to pick, because I thought last week I would be able to see Najee get those dump offs with no Deontay Johnson. Obviously, that was definitely not the case.
Yeah, that's an ugly situation. But you're right. Najee does have that touchdown upside. I don't know if anyone saw my tweet. I said Najee Harris looks like he runs like Adrian Peterson if you asked him to run right now. He runs straight upright like Peterson did. There's just no burst. There's no acceleration ever when you watch this guy. It looks like he doesn't stretch. He doesn't believe in stretching before the game, and he's just kind of doing it as he goes out there. So that's an ugly one. But the Raiders is a way better matchup. You hope, if you're a Steelers backer, I'm not a Steelers backer, I hope they continue to suck, because it just makes all those other people that loved them even funnier, right? So I'm cool with that. I hope they continue to suck. But even as a Steelers hater, you've got to assume they'll finally be able to move the ball forward. I don't know if you saw, they didn't move the ball beyond the 30-yard line in the second half of that last game, and they won based on their defense. Amazing defense, no doubt about it. But come on, this offense sucks so far. But you got to imagine it gets a little better today.
Hopefully that offensive coordinator is gone here very quickly. It's I don't know how this man has a job. I bet you I could do a better job, and I play Madden once every year. So it's tough. It's very tough to want to play him, dude. It's just so gross, especially when Ford is that new shiny toy, that you want to get in.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one. Ford next week is the move, though, when everyone in the world is too high on Kareem Hunt and not high enough on Ford. That's when you want to go.
Dude, they didn't even want him, bro. That's the thing. Everybody's thinking this is going to be such a big deal, dude. They didn't even want him, bro.
And also, not even them. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
Not just them. Nobody in the league wanted him. So, do with that information what you will. I seemingly feel way different about Hunt versus Ford than a lot of other people do. And I guess we'll see it play out this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah. Fuck. All right. Let's take a look at DFS. Obviously, we did run our contest last week. I think I'm going to make it a $5 contest this week because we're going to have hopefully a lot of you guys joining. I will make that link. Actually, I think I still have it. I think it renewed. So I will do that now. Post that link in the description there. See if we can get even 20 of you guys in there. And let's get it going. Obviously, last week was pretty good for us. Obviously, we had some pretty good spots that we went to and made some money there. So, Stu, I'll kick it to you to start us off with our favorite high-end guy this week.
Yeah, I mean, Bijan Robinson is definitely going to be a staple in a lot of my lineups this week. It's going to be a fun game, right? We got Falcons, Lions. What do we know about the Falcons? They're going to run the ball more than any other team in the league with the lowest pass rate over expectations so far this year. No surprise, Bijan's been a big part of that. What we do like to see, and we all expected it, but the target share has been absolutely awesome with Bijan. And even more than that, he's lining up and he's running routes in the slot. They're motioning him to the outside. They're using him in all the creative ways that we'd hoped they'd use him. So Bijan's obviously really expensive right now, and I think that might scare some people away, right? You look at a guy, oh, he's just a rookie. He's in a bit of a timeshare. Maybe I'll just skip that. But for me, this game has a lot of offensive upside. Neither of these defenses have scared me that much. I think Bijan is going to be very scary in the passing game. A running back that can legitimately get you 40 receiving yards is insane. But I really don't think that's crazy to think for this game. I might even run a little ladder for his receiving yards against the Lions in that one. Now they're out CJ Gardner-Johnson playing that safety role as well. It feels like there's going to be a little bit less reliable coverage in that situation. I just think Bijan is in store for a huge game, and he's not. Well, Nick Chubb's gone. He might be the best running back in the league right now, and he's only played 2 NFL games, which is crazy. But if you do believe that to be true, or you believe it to be close to true, then there is a little bit of an edge on playing an extremely talented running back when maybe the whole world isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, and I think the price will scare people away as well, and that's something that you want to be backing there, right? You want to be zigging when everybody's zagging, and that's how you win these ones, right? That's how you get up on the leaderboards there. Nervous. I'm a Steelers fan. Don't start Najee. Steelers offense will break your heart, dude. I just need him to fall into the end zone, man. I am literally loaded at every other position. Like DK Metcalf is my flex right now. Like my team is pretty good. It's just besides Joe Burrow being a bum who's getting benched for Geno no matter what. That dude's Geno the GOAT's finding his way into the lineup. So didn't even need that one.
Burrow's getting benched in real life, so it's not going to play this week. So you won't have to make that decision. It doesn't matter.
But hey, I said it before he got ruled out officially, so it's like his ass is benched. You know, it's not like, oh, you're hurt, you're going to sit. You're benched, right? Maybe that'll light a fire on his ass to be benched by my team there, and hopefully he gets him going. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with Kirk Cousins. I know it's not super high end. 6,900 is not like crazy, but dude's been putting up numbers already. 54 fantasy points in 2 games. Obviously, this is the fun environment. I think that Chargers are going to get more. I think you're going to have the Vikings as like the run backs to the Chargers, right? Because the Chargers are going to have everybody's going to play Herbert. I think Herbert is going to be 35%. And maybe I get Kirk at like that 18, where if this was different, right? Kirk should be 30%, right? But everybody's going to want to roll with Herbert. You got 2 weapons you can easily throw on him. And if you try to stack Kirk, you have to make that investment, man. You're paying top dollar at tight end. You're paying top dollar at wide receiver, the top dollar on the entire slate in Jefferson. So I think that's going to be a little bit more contrarian to, pay up on those 2 guys, find other value in other spots. You can definitely find it, and that's why we're going to have these value spots. But 54 total in their dogs, and they've been losing a lot of these games for most of the first half even. And I love when Kirk Cousins just gets it rolling, man, and just it's coming out. There's not even opportunity for the running back to touch the ball. And that's what I love about Kirk Cousins, man. And he's been showing a little bit of that rushing upside a little bit on getting out of the pocket. Give me those 4 or 5 yards. I'll take that. I like those little runs from him.
Yeah, a little 0.4 fantasy points makes you happy out there. But no, I like Kirk a lot as well. It's actually, I might play this as when I was messing around in DraftKings yesterday night, like for my player prop combos, I put in Kirk Cousins 1.5 passing touchdowns / Bijan 50 rushing yards at even money. And that might be like a show play tomorrow. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but like these are truly 2 of my favorite guys this week. I was just sorry about damn. I was just doing a DFS show with Sportstopia, and I pretty much said the very same thing. Is rather than starting my lineups on the Chargers side, I think I'm going to be going Kirk Cousins, going Jordan Addison, some TJ Hawkinson, some Justin Jefferson. Not everywhere. I can't get all, like you said, it's so expensive. But I'll definitely have those guys, and then a little bit different looks on the Chargers side, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, dude, it's hard to get away from that game. 54 total is just something you don't see much anymore. So it's definitely a spot that I think a lot of people will want to go to. But you got to find those guys that are not going to be comboed together, right? And that's the tough part, right? I feel like Hawkinson's going to be so chalk, right? Because on the Charger side, who are you going to play? You're going to play Gerald Everett. He hasn't done anything for him, right? They're going to want to run back the two top wide receivers, run back Hawkinson. You're just going to have to hope Jefferson doesn't pop off. But that, I think, is definitely going to be the build that we see a lot of there. And let's get to the guys that we're going to have to play to even have a chance at rolling with some of these guys, right? So let's take a look here.
Yeah, too. I will just mention at the end, talk about punt tight ends. Rather than going up, for your Hawkinsons, maybe look at a Donald Parham for the Chargers. They only use him in the red zone. That is his only objective on that team. A deep play occasionally, but they only use him in the red zone. So I'm going to toss him a little Parham, and that'll make it real cheap. You know what I'm saying? But here, I'm staying in the same game. I do normally like to go cheaper, and there are cheap guys that I like to talk about as well this week. But I just wanted to talk about Joshua Kelly. So that was my selection. I'll be playing a lot of Joshua Kelly this week. Kind of what we just talked about a minute ago. He had the absolute worst matchup last week against the Titans, the ultimate pass funnel. The Chargers just didn't even look that great in general in that game. Now we have an opportunity for a guy who carried the ball like 20 times in the first game with Austin Eckler to actually get some legitimate opportunities to run the ball, right? I mean, this is not a defense we are scared of whatsoever. Minnesota is one of the rare defenses where they're not a pass funnel or a run funnel because they suck against both of them, right? And it's not like the Chargers are a team that loves to run the ball or anything crazy like that, but they did show those tendencies with this new staff. Obviously in the preseason, that was a thing, but then in week one, coming out extremely aggressive on the ground, you obviously have to pivot when you play the Titans because their pass defense is not good and their run defense is really good. So it's quite obvious what you do in that situation, right? You check the ball down, you move the ball down through the air. You won't have to do that against the Vikings. Kelly is going to have pretty much, Austin Eckler has been the best touchdown running back in the league over the last couple of years. And Kelly's walking into that role with no competition. Whether you believe he has success on the ground or not, there's one thing we know he has, and that's touchdown upside in a game with the 54-point total. People are going to be hurt after last week. They played him at real cheap. I'm going right back in a week where hopefully ownership goes way down.
Zig when everybody zags, baby. I definitely like that spot. I think he'll be pretty low owned for how bad his performance was last week. I got away from him. Thank God I didn't even try to touch it. That Tennessee offense or defensive line is definitely not anything you want to mess with. Pass funnel team that we like to attack passing there. I really like Javonte Williams, man. And I understand everybody's like, oh, he's only playing 45% of the snaps. All right. P. Ryan played 50% of snaps last week. Bro got one carry. 50% of snaps, got one carry, and he caught 3 passes. Javonte Williams is right up there, man. He's catching passes. His workload is going up every single week. Dude got every single rush attempt except for, obviously, the one that P. Ryan got. And he matched his catch output, which is what everybody was worried about, right? Everybody was worried that he wasn't going to get any passing game work because P. Ryan's there, and they went out and got him, right? Javonte Williams is going to get hidden in this game, right? Everybody's going to want to go. Dude, everybody just saw Russ put up. Russ got cooking, right? And they might – I think that's going to be a sneaky one that I think a lot of people are going to try to play. It's going to be Russ rolling them with Sutton, maybe even Mims in there as well at that really cheap price point. He almost was my cheap option here. But I think Javonte Williams got a chance here to be sneaky, especially with the opportunities, right? There's not many guys at 5,500 and 5,400 respectively on Kelly that are going to be running 80, 90% of the rushing attempts. You're not going to find that down here, right? You look around here, right? Outside of those guys, you got Gus Edwards, you got Damian Pierce, right? You got Tyler Algier. Those are the guys you're competing with at this price point. And I think these two are workhorses for that price. And people are going to want to pay up, bro. I think people are going to want to either go all the way down, way down there. Jerome Ford's only 4,800, right? He's going to be chalk, right? You're going to see him get played a lot. I think that Johnson for the Bears, he's going to be chalk, 4,700, because they've just been talking about him a lot in the news. And, what is oh my God, why can't I think of it? Who's the starter there right now? Why can't I think of his name right now? Starter for the
Foreman? Deonta Foreman?
No, he's done. He got healthy scratch last week. It's a Herbert. Herbert.
Yeah, Khalil Herbert. Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name for some reason. But yeah, Foreman was a healthy scratch last week. I think you definitely could see a lot of chalk to those guys because they're going to want to pay up for that Vikings game. So I think I can sit in the middle, maybe even go a little bit lower, maybe do a 2 tight end spot this week because tight end's cheap. But yeah, you maybe punt some defense, and hopefully we'll have enough money to get this around. Because I'll be making my lineups here once all this injury news is updated here tomorrow. So all my lineups should be locked in by then. Yeah. But oh my God, Michael Harvey, how are you playing in a 5-man league? AJ Brown or Olave? I guess if we're talking DFS, let me take a look at the pricing here. But isn't AJ Brown on Monday? Phillies on Monday, aren't they?
Yeah, I didn't see him on the main slate.
Yeah, so it would definitely have to be a DFS question, or if you have those two in year long and you're contemplating sitting one, that's impressive. I think I mean, dude, I think Olave is going to have a tough one here against the Packers. It's going to be tough.
You got to go AJ Brown, I think. And even if you're just talking about who's the better real life player, I think AJ Brown as well, probably. But I love Chris Olave. We both do. We talked about him a lot before the season started. Had that awesome catch on Monday Night Football that almost made that game worth watching. So definitely shout out Chris Olave. But yeah, weird question.
He's a stud. Yeah, he's a stud, and yeah, dude, you're cooking, dude. I'm assuming you're in first place if that's your flex option or your guy that you're sitting. But Denny bringing up, we will have all of these types of questions tomorrow for full props because we're gonna have our bets out tomorrow. But I guess what's our thoughts, dude? I mean, how do you get away from that? I mean, how the books are tired of just getting nuked by the same bet, and everybody's making that same bet because it's been working. So they're gonna go high enough to see if people bet the under, and I still think it's gonna get bet over.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about on the opening line report I do on Sunday nights, I talk about my 3 favorite prop look-aheads, and I was saying that Justin Jefferson in the 90s would be a target. I don't think they were going to open him up triple digits, and when we saw Prize Picks, they opened him up at like 93, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, easy money right there. And normally DraftKings puts a pretty similar line out, but then like you said, it's 102. It's only 12, 13 yards, but that's a huge deal, right? That's 1 to 2 catches in these kind of situations. I think he goes over, but I don't think there's like value. Like I think he destroys. It's hard not to. He's one of the only guys that is truly locked into that 10-target role. So I think he's going to get close. I think he probably goes over, but am I going to bet 102 yards? Probably not.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to want to bet anyone like there. I guess, Stu, we can throw some darts. This will be our last section here. Harrison bringing up any first touchdown for tonight. I don't ever bet first touchdown, but is there a spot you want to go? I mean, the odds on these are ass too.
When I was going to say, when I bet first touchdown, I like to bet on guys that aren't going to likely get it, but have a real chance, like a small role in the offense that's big enough, right, to be used in the red zone. It's just going to be CMC, isn't it? At plus 650 or plus 550 or whatever, maybe 450 at this point. It was a guy like CMC.
His first touchdown?
Yeah. Is it terrible? Am I wrong?
Keep going, dude. Keep going down.
Is it like 350? 250?
290.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Over most stud like players, like Tyreek Hill was like 600. So I went a little down from that. But you're right. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey. So it'll suck when I bet on, I don't love it today because I'm not going to bet a Giant. Like even though they could score first, I see that. I'm just not. I don't think the probability is on their side. So a guy like Kittle becomes intriguing especially if Ayuk is out. I'm personally thinking Ayuk doesn't play today. I don't know if you feel differently, but if I had to bet, I would say he's not playing. So I think Kittle does open up a little bit more value. Maybe a guy like Ronnie Bell, a rookie out of Michigan who showed some good deep play potential, had a pretty solid preseason. But that's getting real crazy at that point. So it's just going to be CMC. We're all going to be disappointed when we have our long shots and he cashes the 290 ticket that like 14 people have. That's the bet that like your buddy that doesn't watch football makes, where he goes like, oh, I love Christian McCaffrey. He's obviously going to score the first touchdown. 290 is great odds. And then everyone's like, no. And then he wins. That's what it's going to be. So enjoy that.
Yeah, I have this is not a long shot game for me, man. This is maybe a long shot under on games. This might be a long shot under games if you want to.
Can I talk my one long shot before we get out of here, though, from that game while we're on topic?
Sure.
because I do like Elijah Mitchell still to get in the end zone. It's plus 300 on Caesars right now. I see Gerardo just said the same thing. The whole world is on Mitchell touchdown. But at plus 300, you're not asking for too much. I'm not asking you to lay down $100 to $300. This is a $25, $50 bet right here. The thing is, the bet I really love, if you're in my Discord, I posted it yesterday, to score a second half touchdown at 550 was the bet I really, really liked. I think that is where you get creative. You get the game script, right? You get the second half is really where he takes over, because people are overreacting to this Christian McCaffrey news, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to carry the ball 20 times. They obviously do want to limit his workload. But how has Ben reacting to Coach Speak been working for you so far? If you bet Dallas Goedert in primetime, you didn't win, right? If you're just listening to what these coaches are saying, which people on Twitter are doing, it's not good. It's creating a lot of false rumors, a lot of false incentives, I think. So for me, I like Mitchell beyond that. I've been a big fan of Elijah Mitchell dating back to last year. I bet him in the playoffs, second half rush yards on Prize Picks a couple times. They love getting him involved, especially in the second half. Just the problem is that got bet down from plus 550 to plus 380. So at this point, would you rather play anytime touchdown at plus 300 or second half touchdown at plus 380? It's pretty obvious you just take the anytime odds. But I agree, it's a real popular play. That's why I'm not going to be playing the 30 rush yards with everyone else. But I do think this is a good way to get some exposure in that game.
Yep. I have no long shot in this game.
What about like a Jalen Hyatt? Can I interest you in like a Jalen Hyatt, like 65, 70 receiving yards?
No.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't even know.
I am also rolling with San Francisco's defense in 2 leagues. So true. I am cheering for them. Every 60-yard ball in the air is picked and ran back for a touchdown. So maybe you know what I want to do? If I'm going to be cheering for San Francisco, let's take San Francisco's defense 2 touchdowns. What is that?
I don't even know if you can bet that. Someone maybe can help us out. But
if somebody wants to pull up, if you could take the defense to score 2 touchdowns, that would be it. That would be my extreme long shot. That obviously has like oh my God, I don't even know. Yeah, it's minus 120. I don't think it's free. I think fumble is in there too, though. It was 5,000 last night. We could be rich, dude. Might as well.
I don't see it on FanDuel. It's not even an option.
It's not even on DraftKings. I'm looking right now.
Really? I don't see for 2. I don't even see an option on FanDuel. So
TD scorer, right? I have TD scorer. First touchdown for them is plus 2,000. Anytime touchdown is plus 475.
Yeah.
I want 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Plus 5K.
Interesting.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't know. That's for me. I agree though about the interception thing because Jones fumbles so much. Like he truly does fumble the ball so much that like I wish you could bet interceptions plus fumbles or total turnovers or something like that. That would be fun. But yeah. And yeah, you're right. On FanDuel, they don't count the special teams, but I don't even see it at all. So
yeah, I ain't on FanDuel. We're DraftKings only on these. I can't even find the 2. So yeah, let's go with that. That's as long as we're gonna get there. So yeah, Stu, what do you got for the people here? Obviously, we'll see them tomorrow, so don't need anything too crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of props ready to go for tomorrow. A lot of good spots. I've got 1 locked in so far. Excited to add a couple more. Pass the prop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Today was a little funky because of the injury news, but I'm glad we got the show in. I think we got some good information out there. And yeah, just make sure you're following on Twitter. I got an Ohio State Notre Dame article coming out for the game day tomorrow. So, you guys can let me know which side you're on of that rivalry. A huge college football weekend. You can expect some props probably by the end of today for college football from me. And I know PPS definitely will have something cooking. So a lot of good stuff. Make sure you're following both of us on Twitter. Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing. It's really easy, real simple to do. If you're tailing the bets, it takes 5 seconds and it helps us a lot and it costs you nothing. Right. I mean, I said this before. I watched YouTube for like 5 years. I don't think I ever liked a fucking video ever. What am I going to do that for? Now that I actually do this shit, I literally even comment. I go, I really liked this video. If I can't even think of anything, right? Because I know what that means now. Now that I'm on this side of it and that stupid bullshit that takes 5 seconds to do means like everything to us. So we'd appreciate it if you did that, that other shit as well. Tail the bets, keep winning money. That's all I got.
Yeah. Hey, can't get too crazy with almost 8 units in 2 weeks. So We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out.
True. I didn't even say how good we are. We're so good at betting. There you go. I didn't even brag. I didn't even flex. God damn it. I forgot the crucial part of gambling Twitter advertising. You're supposed to say how great we are. So my bad. You got it covered. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys are still with us 55 minutes in. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously, with some more plays for you guys for the full weekend. So have a good one. Best of luck tonight, and let's make some money.